So the other day I was on mercurycougar.net, my favorite website, and in the Cougars for Sale section, up pops a 1969 Mercury Cougar 428 Cobra Jet convertible. Dream car, always wanted one that I could afford. So I called the guy, had only been there 41 minutes, called the guy and said, I don't want to talk about or best offer, I'll take it, full price. No pictures. He said the car hasn't run in many years, several years. He said there's some rust. I said, I'll take it. So me and my boys had a road trip to Huntington Beach, California, and we picked it up, and we spent more time talking to the original owner and getting to know him and asking him questions about the history than looking at the car. Didn't need to look at the car, I already bought it. So we just got it back here, and I'm anxious to get this on the rack, and we're going to do a Cougar by the numbers. We're going to explore this car together. Scott is my numbers guy. He loves numbers. He actually has the world's largest Cougar door data plate collection. How many you got? Hundreds?
Over 1,000.
Over 1,000. Anyway, so he likes numbers. And we don't know if this is numbers matching. We don't know what's missing. We knew it was an fender bender, so we know some things have been replaced in this area. So we're going to explore this car bit by bit by bit and see what we find.
All right.
Second.
Oh, all right. I'm Scott, and we're going to break into this car and look for numbers matching. Numbers matching means different things on different marks. With the Fords, it's more casting numbers and date codes. This is a 428 Cobra Jet. We're going to look at the date stamp on the block. It's right here on the driver's side. We're going to clean it up, and we're going to look at that and interpret what the date is, and we'll make notes and we'll compare that to what the rest of the car is, by the build date and whatnot. Okay?
Keep your fingers crossed.
Keep your fingers crossed. All right, right here by the where the next adjacent to the oil filter, between the oil filter and the oil pan, there's a date here, and that is, I'll read that for you. It is 9, letter C, 10, which equates to 1969, March 10th. For the casting date on the block.
Match.
All right, let's move on and see if we can find that VIN number on the back of the block. It's just below the cylinder head, on the, where the block and the cylinder head meet. It should say the last 5 digits of the VIN is what we would expect to find on an original block, numbered matching original block. So let's see what we find.
Numbers match.
All right, moving over to the C6 transmission, the Cobra Jets have what they call the R servos, and it literally has an embossed R on the servo on the on the side of the transmission. And we do have a tag here, and we will get a scraping. Call this carcheology.
R.
Likely not going to see the VIN number on this transmission. There's a flat boss or a pad in between the case and the cast iron tail shaft, but we're not going to be able to see that inside the car here. It's around the top. We'll show an example of one over there from our inventory. All right, here's our just a C6 transmission we had from the shop that as an example to show the VIN stamp. There's a flat boss up here. There's a tail shaft. It's right on top, right at the back of it. I've already cleaned that, and this one is stamped 526180, and I could tell you right now this came from a Mercury, because we know that the VINs on Mercury start with a 5 always. If this was a Ford, it would have a 1 in the first position on the 6-digit consecutive serial numbers. Our VIN is most 99% sure that's on that car in that spot, and it's just, as you can tell, as you can surmise, it's going to be tough to see inside the car. All right, moving back to the rear end here. We've got our rear end tag, original rear end tag, and I'll talk about the rear end here in just a minute, but the tag, let's clean that off. I can see that pretty good. The letters at the top say WFD-L, which is specific to a 69 428 Cobra jet. The date's there, 9CB. And 3L00L is locking, and 300 is the ratio. 9 is simply the ring gear, and 988A is a plant code.
match,
And I've got a casting date back here. Okay, and my casting date on my differential, my pumpkin, third member if you call it, 9B24. That's 1969, B, second month, February 24th.
numbers match,
These are the original Ford mufflers. I can read the numbers for you here. C9W, W's Cougar number. A5230-U for the passenger side. Driver's side, C9WA 5232-S. That would be a driver's side muffler. And I can see that these are a little bit soft, but it's unusual to see the original mufflers. These do have the Ford logo on them with the Cougar specific part numbers. All right, let's pop a cap on and let's see if what we see under these original steel wheels. Oh, look at that, spider webs. All right, there's our, on the wheels, it looks like a 9MC.
match,
Back under the engine again, looking at some things just from the bottom, looking up and seeing what I see. Okay, I can see, bad news, Don. Not an original fuel pump. This one says AC on the bottom. That is a replacement oil or a fuel pump.
Wrong.
Hopefully we want to see an original Carter fuel pump. Carter was a supplier of fuel pumps for Ford, specifically for the high performance applications. And here I have a Reproduction Carter fuel pump. And you've heard of the X pumps. These are the ones that they had for the high performance. These would be the high volume pumps. And here's a cast-in X right there on the body. Carter manufacturer. This is Reproduction, but it's a darn good one. We can even get these date coded. This one has a 21H8A date, and we can actually have the manufacturers make the correct date. And here is the correct Cobra Jet part number, the Carter part number for a pump. It's 4441 letter S. That is a numbers matching Carter X fuel pump for 428 Cobra Jet.
Well, here we are on the top side of the engine. We're going to look for the engine ID tag. It's usually right there by the coil, about this big, aluminum tag. I'm not seeing it here. I see somebody's put an aftermarket chrome bracket here for the coil. They disturbed it probably when that happened. No big deal though. We go to Kevin Marty, martyauto.com, give him the information on this car, and for a few bucks he makes the letter correct one with the right numbers on the right tag. He'll do it for the carburetor, the transmission, the any of the tags on the car. He's your guy on this. We'll show you an example of what one should look like though from one of my other cars that I had made by Marty.
Okay, now I've located the body buck tag. Now on your Marty report, you would have a series of dates, and it would be bucked date, and this is actually the tag, and this would have been what part of the bucking process, I guess you would say. I don't know, if that's correct terminology in Ford lore. So we can take it off and then clean it, break down the code.
Match.
Power steering pumps have tags on the rear of the pump, and it's hard to see when it's installed on a car with air conditioning. You got the compressor in the way, and in this case we've used a mirror to get behind it, and we flipped it around for you to see that it does have the correct information on the tag.
Match.
Steering gearboxes have tags, and this one's legible. You can see it down there. It's SMB-K. It's always going to be a 16:1 ratio, and that would be the date there, 9C11B.
Match.
On the door and quarter glass, you'll notice acid etching down low in the corner. Kind of hard to read. Looks like this one's a service replacement glass.
Wrong.
Now we got these are the original keys for the car, and then you got the key code tags that it says on here to record and discard. These actually have the key code. A lot of times they're written in the owner's manual, and these correspond. One corresponds to the ignition key, one corresponds to the trunk key. We've got a key code for our trunk and glove box lock, and we're going to verify that with our glove box lock. There is a number stamped on that, and we've got a double match there. Alright, let's open the trunk and see what treasures are inside here.
Well, this is a fun little treasure found in the trunk. Not many dates here, but I'm going to point out a couple. This is interesting right here. This is a year before the car was made. So in a show setting, that would be considered numbers not matching, but we know that this isn't a replacement. The guy took this off the car on day 3 of ownership. So that's an unknown. Again, it proves never say never on some of these dates. And we have another date here, I do believe. Let's see, here it is, right there. Ah, that looks like it fits properly in the spectrum of dates.
Alright, let's get back in the trunk, see if there's anything more. Cool. Alright, Play School Baby. What's that? It's a cardboard box, looks kind of old. Oh boy, look at that.
Sweet.
Carburetor, looks like this is the type of Holly that it should have. This is a 4150 Holly. Uh-oh, there's a tag on it. Autolite C9AFN with a date of 9CC. That is a correct 1969 428 Cobra Jet carburetor for automatic. On the air horn, C9AF-9510-N, which is the complete Ford part number for a Holly 428 Cobra Jet 735 CFM carburetor with automatic transmission. The list number 4280, that's a Holly number, and 921 is year, month, week. This equates to 1969, February 1st week.
Numbers match.
Oh yeah, this is what we were hoping to find. Yeah, look at that. Oh, look at this. A power window bezel switch stuck to the bottom. Been there. Oh, look at this. Holy smokes. Oh my goodness gracious, look at that. Embedded right to the bottom. That's been there a while. Ha ha! Look at that. That's cool.
Can you read anything on it? Oh wow!
Woo!
That's a little bonus there.
That's what we're after right there.
Build sheet. This is what we dug out from under the carpet on that car. Top line is basically the VIN and door tag information repeated. There's various things in there. Engine tag, That's the code for our specific engine. 421T would have been on the engine tag had we found one on this car. We didn't find it. Automatic transmission code PGBAF. Next line says belts. It's actually for the seat belts, and there is a code A there which denotes it as black, which is a nice thing to know if you didn't know what this car had originally, because being a white interior with aqua carpeting, and it has black seat belts, and it's called out, and we in fact do have black seat belts in our car. Moving over to convertible top, W's in there. That's the code for white. P would be for power top. All the Cougars have power tops. Drive shaft, we've got some color codes here. We read it as light blue, and dark green, and that would denote it for a 428 engine with C6 transmission, and it would also have to have the larger U-joints, being that it's the heavier duty car. Moving down, rear leaf springs, we read it as gold and orange. These would be the actual paint stripes that would have been applied to the springs when they were assembling the car. Likewise, front coils, the code shows BU, BU, TN, and we believe this is blue, blue, tan. Moving over here and down to the corner here, it says suspension package. There's a letter H. The Cobra Jets came standard with competition handling package, is what the Ford denotes it as heavy duty.
In summary, I'm pretty happy with my pig in a poke. Could have been a lot worse. One thing that was reinforced to me is never say never on some of these dates. Usually, like that Smart canister, you would have saw it closely dated to the build date. It was a whole year ahead of time, but we know that came off this car. It wasn't a replacement part. The guy took it off when it was brand new and put it in that box. We look pretty smart decoding this car and showing you all the ins and outs, but reality is we get most of our data from Marty Auto Works. Kevin Marty has wrote Cougar by the numbers, Mustang by the numbers, and what we used mostly on this car was the tag book. Good stuff to have. The Marty report, get one. If you're considering buying a car, before you spend the money, get the Marty report. If you're selling a car and you want to prove it is what it is, Marty report. For the 40 some odd dollars in the 10 minutes it takes on his website, money well spent. You'll be able to see the build date, the scheduled build date, how many were made just like it, was it a retail order, was it a stock order. Good documentation to have. Chevy guys would die for this kind of stuff. Us Ford guys have it easy. So check out martyauto.com, and thanks for watching this video with us. What's better, Knott's Berry Farm or this old yucky car?
Car.
Oh, good answer, buddy. So how about we don't go to the beach and we just spend all day kind of poking around in this car and looking for change under the seat and looking at numbers and talking about cars all day?
Nah.
Nah. Okay.